that. All right, cool. So this is the first episode of Pillar Talk, your Masonic podcast, and today we're going to be having a bunch of different people on the show coming up in the next couple of weeks. Definitely a lot of very interesting people and brothers within the craft, and hopefully anybody that's listening will get to enjoy it. So my name is James Devlin. I'm Senior Deacon of Peninsula Lodge number 99 in the 5th Masonic District in Bayonne, New Jersey. And today we have on Brother Carl Hern. So if you want to just introduce yourself, let us know any titles that you hold now or respective positions and kind of everything that all the appendant bodies that you're a part of and whatnot.
Cool. Yeah, my name is Brother Carlos Hernandez. Everybody knows me as Carl Hern. I just kind of shortened it up. That's the alter ego. I'm a member of Illumination Lodge number 5 in Bloomingdale, Illinois. I don't really hold any titles. My title is brother. So I am a member of Scottish Rite, Royal Arch member as well, Grotto member, and Shrine member.
Cool. I think I definitely put you on the list of people that I wanted to talk with, because I think over the past, I want to say about a year and a half, 2 years that I've had you as a friend through Facebook, you've definitely gone on some interesting trips. You definitely have some interesting viewpoints. You have your own business associated with Masonry, and it's always a good conversation when I see you online. So what have you been up to lately in regards to traveling? I know you're really big into, and maybe I'm wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong, I know you're really big into artifacts and a lot of the esoteric or historical side of just life in general. So where have you been recently? What kind of things have you come across Masonically, or even, anything cool?
Well, with this whole situation that's happening now with the coronavirus, it's been kind of difficult to travel. So we haven't really done much traveling this year. Last year, right at the end of last year, we did go to Ireland, checked out Ireland, which was pretty cool. There was a lot of Masonic stuff there to see as well. We went to the Grand Lodge building. That was pretty neat. We also saw a lot of the, ancient sites. We went to Newgrange, which was very interesting to see, and kind of just looking forward to new adventures, man, after this whole thing is over.
Now, I did notice that for a little bit, you had a little slogan going on, bring skulls back into Masonry. You care to go into that, or?
Yeah, I mean, make Masonry skulls again is one of the t-shirts that I designed. It went along with the hashtag No Skulls in Masonry. Basically, putting out my designs. If you follow my work at Ascended Masters Clothing, you can see that there's always, usually skulls incorporated into the designs. Myself personally, I feel that the skull has its place in Masonry. Memento mori, basically signifying, that, we're all going to die. We're all going to succumb to that, ultimate, untimely death, in other words. And, it's a constant reminder for us to live, with that in the back of our minds, knowing very well that our time may soon be up. You got to take advantage of the time that you do have, those sands of time. So I think it's a very important thing for Masons to understand and realize, that our time is limited here on this plane. The chamber reflection, for example, we've been trying to get that back into a lot of lodges. I know a lot of jurisdictions don't allow it. We're working on Illinois here. We're working on getting it back in. The Grand Master did give approval, for certain things, certain elements to be introduced into it. Not a full-blown chamber reflection, but I do think, and I'm a firm believer that is an important part of Masonry, especially in that first step.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, because I've been to degrees where I've seen that, the chamber of reflection was used. It's actually I think it kind of adds more allure to joining the organization. And also, it gives you a lot to think about. Again, I don't want to I want to go into some ritual stuff, but I can't, for the simple fact that this will be aired a little bit more publicly. I know I can't go deeper into certain elements of, ritual and whatnot, just safeguarding for me. I don't have ritual committee calling me, but Yeah, chamber reflection. We definitely we just got the okay for bringing back chamber of reflection with our current grandmaster, I believe, or if it may have been last year as well with the previous most worshipful. But I haven't seen too much of it here in New Jersey yet. Hopefully, we get to see a little bit more. But do you feel like that is something that? I mean, I assume that's something that was incorporated a lot in masonry and taken out. Do you think? Do you have any? Do you know why that may have been?
There's several reasons. When masonry first began, obviously those symbols that were there, were there for a reason. And, a lot of the fear-based factors came into play, especially with the whole anti-Masonic movement, things like that. It was taken out. Basically, guys were just, coming back from the war. They had already dealt with so much death, and they didn't want to deal with that in lodge. And if you look at all these other fraternal orders, for example, the Odd Fellows or even the Knights of Pythias, they all use, the skull and bone symbolism. And it's exactly the same significance. It was just all, they still use it. But Masonry, for example, we've kind of veered away from that, just because, the public image, we're concerned about the public image, which I understand. But at the same time, we are a secret society. So, we've got to have that factor. And there's again, there's importance behind that symbol itself. So, we've kind of forgotten that, especially the esoteric parts of it. In other words, we've veered off more into a social club as opposed to, a mystery school, an ancient mystery school.
I would agree with you on that. I think that if I had to rate myself of what kind of Mason I am, I think that I go through phases of like where I stand with Masonry, whether it be like an esoteric approach to it, an organizational approach to it, or camaraderie, brotherhood approach to it. I think right now more into I think I'm more into the organizational approach, even though I still, have a love for esoteric. I mean, I talk to guys that are way more versed than me in the esoteric part. I try to read as much as I can. I may not be the most articulate person to like talk about it with, but I've been focusing a little bit. Me personally, I've been focusing a little bit more on like the brotherly camaraderie organizational part, only
Mm-hmm.
because like I guess this can segue into talking about a little bit with COVID is that I think as an organization we've been kind of falling off membership wise across the country. I mean across the world, right? I think last person I spoke to, I think Europe was having some type of resurgence with it, or at least being able to hold on to members a little bit more. But giving that what we have going on now, I mean, I don't know what that's going to call for. I don't know what it's going to look like when we get back to business because I don't know about what you guys are doing now over in Illinois, but I mean, we don't have any plans for meeting yet. I know June we're thinking about meeting. We still have an official visit that we have. You guys have official visits like district deputy grandmasters.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, so we still have to actually get those done, and membership in itself was kind of looking a little low when you go to meetings. So I'm kind of wondering, or what do you think it's going to look like post COVID or COVID remission? Because I don't know if there'll be a second wave like most people are mentioning, but what do you think membership's going to look like or attendance, and how's that going to affect the fraternity?
Well, I mean, touching base first on the difference as far as standing as far between esoteric masonry and the camaraderie, the brotherhood behind it, which are both good. I mean, they're both great. I think you do need both within the fraternity itself. As far as what's happening now with the whole coronavirus COVID-19 thing, I strongly believe that it's gonna tie brothers together more than before. I think a lot of brothers are realizing how much they actually needed masonry, as opposed to before we kind of took it for granted a little bit. Brothers have got a lot of time now on their hands to study their ritual and things like that. I kind of think we're going to have brothers that are going to get more serious about it. You're going to have a lot more guys focusing on either a blue house or, Royal Arch or things like that, they'll be more directed and more geared towards focusing on one area rather than being all over the place. As far as the fraternal aspect goes, I think there's going to be a little weirdness at first. I mean, it's going to be normal everywhere we go. I mean, we're going to see this, and it's just going to be a new hurdle that us as Masons are going to have to, jump over. I think once we get past it, we can get back to hugs and all that. I mean, I don't know how you guys are in Jersey, but our brothers. Every time we see brothers, we hug it up, and it's something now it's gonna be weird at first, I think, but it'll get back to normal. Hopefully, the membership will grow. I do know that the public eye right now is on Masonry because I know that there are a lot of brothers throughout the world. In fact, they're actually, donating things, equipment and things like that. And they're donating foods to hospitals for the nurses and doctors and things, which is putting a nice light on us. At the same time, there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there that I've been seeing. That there was a poster flying around Facebook showing that the Masons were behind COVID-19 and this and that. But obviously, we know that's not the case. But these little things like that, they can affect us, and we just have to make sure we guard the West Gate and keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you guys doing currently? I don't know, I don't know how active you are in each of the appendant bodies, whether it's Blue House, Red House, or Scottish Rite. What are you guys doing? I mean, what are you most active in currently, and what are you guys doing during this whole pandemic in general?
During the whole pandemic, for example, I got together with a few brothers and started a Illinois Emergency Masonic Response Team to help out the elderly brothers. So the whole purpose of that was just to, reach out to the brothers, do a well-being check, and then if any of these brothers needed some help or any assistance, we would be out there to assist them. If they needed supplies or anything like that, we'd help them out during this time. The healthier brothers, the younger brothers that can go out. So we did put that together, and then through the help and the assistance of the Scottish Rite, we were able to compile a list of brothers 60 and older. And we called these brothers and, make sure they were okay, they didn't need anything, and assisted any way we could.
Has there been any, has there been any loss? Has there been a lot of losses that personally within your region? Or, we had a couple here, a couple of brothers that I know we had a brother involved with, worked in a hospital, and we lost him. Just curious if you know a lot, if you personally have had any loss.
Yeah.
With what's going on.
Personally, as far as brothers go, I don't know any personally that I've actually met that have died as a result of this. I do know that brothers have died as a result of this, like through Facebook and things like that. You see, so-and-so, brother so-and-so worked at, in a hospital and things like that. And then there's been other brothers that have passed that, it hasn't been said, hey, they died of COVID, but, they've just recently passed. Like we've had a lot of Black Camel reports for our shrine for brothers that passed away, but it doesn't specify, hey, they died of COVID or anything like that. So who knows? I mean, and out of all the brothers that we've contacted, everyone seemed to be doing great. I mean, I think I had I think I called about 200 brothers, and on that list, I think there was maybe like 2 or 3 that were in distress. But everyone else was in great spirits, doing the best they can, sheltering in place and things like that. So,
Actually, that's great news. Actually, I've been a little bit antsy about staying inside. I've been trying to get out as much as I can. I really can't stay in as much. I do feel like shit today, so hopefully that's not turning into anything. We're basically in the epicenters of like the country, so we really can't avoid exposure to that. But we've been having some. We've been having some. I'm only a part of Blue Lodge Masonry currently. I've been a member for over 10 years, and I've been going through the chair slowly. Like I said, senior deacon this year, and I do want to jump into Scottish Rite and Royal Arch, but I'm not really in a rush until I become a past master, hopefully, so I can kind of spend a little bit more time with that. But we've been having some we have Zoom calls. We've been doing Zoom calls. You know, we can't conduct much business on there. Luckily for us, our the Grand Master of New Jersey is actually a member of our lodge, so we see him a lot. He jumps on the calls and he kind of gives us the 411 on what he's basically what his ideas are, what he's telling, you know, what it looks like for the state to reopen as far as Masonically. And we really can't do any business until the governor kind of lifts some of the restrictions. I guess that's where we would say we're cheerfully conforming to our government. But I mean, it's good. I'm just a little worried in general. I do think that was a great idea of what you guys formed as far as like an emergency um, response, and you guys are reaching out to brothers and stuff like that. And I think it's important. And I know there's been a lot of good work going on here in New Jersey in regards to masonry. I mean, I can't really speak for masonry of New Jersey. I can only speak for myself. But I think one of the big issues we're going to have is obviously when we get back to the lodge, we're going to have maybe elderly brothers that don't want to attend. I mean, I see your point of where we'll probably get a little bit closer once we get back due to the fact that we've been out of it and guys can't wait to get back to lodging. Because honestly, there's been nights where I'm like, oh God, you know, this is DLI tonight, or fuck, because we meet twice a month, you know, for our lodge. So we have 2 meetings and then we have a DLI, and I'm like, shit. And then I drive by the building and I go, damn, man, I fucking missed that place. I can't wait to get back in there and have a drink with the fellas and do some ritual. But we're worried that it's gonna, you know, turn around and some of our active brothers who are retired may not attend out of fear that they may get sick, which is gonna it'll put a dent in us because we have a lot of really good guys that are retired and make it to lodge. And then what's it gonna look like with the, you know, the handshakes and all things like that? Like, how are people going to be uncomfortable? I think it touches back to you saying that things are going to be a little bit weird at first. I definitely can't wait to jump back in it. But as far as this, it may. I don't know if it's going to. I don't know if it's going to damage our. I definitely think that this is going to affect membership going into 2021, due to the fact that we've had a little bit of a decline in membership this year. Personally, in our lodge, we haven't had as many hits, and now I think we're taking the approach of we're actually. I don't I want to say 100%, but I think we're abandoning the to be one ask one, and we're actually able to talk with people about becoming members.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're moving towards maybe recruiting. I know Scottish Rite has this crazy marketing campaign called the Path Forward. Have you heard of that?
Yep.
So I know that they're working hard on building like content and brand and trying to bring people in, and then they're recommending them to Blue Lodges that if they're not already a Blue Lodge Mason. Um, so I don't know. I think that membership's going to be hurting up until maybe going into next year because people are going to be a little bit more cautious about it. Um, and that may hurt us as an organization even more what's going on now. Because if you think about it, if you got guys that maybe can't attend, it's like, are they going to pay their dues? Are they going to be suspended for non-payment of dues, NPD, because they now look at the lodge as not a place that they feel comfortable in,
Right.
and they're willing to give that up. I don't know. It's something that I've been kind of talking about with some other brothers in the lodge and the leadership and whatnot, and it's kind of iffy.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point there as far as leadership goes. We're definitely going to have to take a step back and analyze the way we do things now and what we're going to do moving forward, because we do have to accommodate these brothers that, you know, immunocompromised brothers or elderly brothers. We do have to accommodate those brothers to a degree of, they need to feel comfortable in lodge. So, whether that's going to require certain cleaning after every meeting, hand sanitizers even everywhere, in the lodge room, and things like that, but, or gloves, even if we wear gloves. I know a lot of our lodge is a formal lodge and we do wear gloves. That might help some way, somehow. I'm not a fan of the masks themselves. I personally don't think that they help. We've had conflicting, accounts whether they help or not. You've got the CDC saying one thing one week and then the next week they're saying another. But I mean, if that makes someone feel comfortable, then hey, why not? If that sense of security is what you need in order to come out, and that's fine. But I'm a strong believer in our immune systems, and if you're healthy, if you've fought viruses in the past and things like that, if you can fight a flu, and I don't see brothers having a problem, going to lodge, if you're comfortable with it. But yeah, you're right. I think guys are gonna stop going to lodge and not paying dues and things like that, and we got to take a look at what we're going to do about it. I mean, what's going to happen moving forward? Are we going to suspend these brothers that are not comfortable? Will we create a valid reason for them, to be, for the lodge to pay the dues, or for whatever, for the Grand Lodge to pay the dues? That's something that's going to have to get looked at by even, on Grand Lodge level.
Yeah, I think as far as in New Jersey, I know that they're working hard on trying to upgrade masonry as best as they can. I'm definitely more of a troublemaker in my lodge, some people would say, because I am. People think I'm insensitive to the older brother. I'm not. I love all my brothers in my lodge. I'm just um one of those guys that is speaking on the forefront of trying to like bring some technology into the lodge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, I can't change things myself. We have constitutional bylaws that obviously you have to run through the Grand Lodge for things to be changed, and then you have to vote on it on the lodge level.
Yep.
But I think I think that definitely with what is going on now, it's a good opportunity for people to kind of look back on how can we improve the Masonic experience with some upgrades of technology. And I'm not saying change the entire format. I'm not saying change ritual. I just mean in general of like, if we're going to do a soft opening of masonry, what is that going to look like? And is there a way that we can tweak things a little bit so that we don't have to lose the membership? We can still keep people engaged. If they don't feel like coming out of their house, how can we um, entertain them, and how can they have a voice still? So I know one of the things that I brought up on a phone call with our worshipful master, it was just something that I was throwing out there with the wardens and the master, and I told him, I said, maybe at some point, if guys, maybe if it only happens for 2 months, but what if we actually open the lodge, right? If the restrictions don't get lifted and you can only have a certain amount. So I know it's in New Jersey currently, I believe it's 10 people indoors. You can have a 10 person gathering indoors. So I told him, I said, why don't we open the lodge? We do our ritual to open, and then once the lodge is open, we go to we broadcast a Zoom call from inside the lodge room so that brothers could participate in the business part, participate in hearing the secretary, the minutes, and everything like that. And then right before we close, we obviously will shut the meeting down. We close it this way that um, there's no ritual being done. There's no security concerns because we're only going to talk about the business from the point of after the Pledge of Allegiance, and then right before the worship master wraps the gavel for closing, we shut the call off and we go about there. That was just an idea I had, and I think that that's something maybe at some point people are going to have to look at because as the age gap actually shrinks, right, and the younger we start getting a lot more younger brethren, obviously, and they're more attuned to using technology like myself. I'm 33. At some point, we're going to have to make a changeover at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it looks like, but I hope that we have some kind of solution on what a meeting's going to look like in the event of like, at all costs, we should have regular communication the way that we've been doing it since the beginning. Obviously, each Grand Lodge is a little bit differently with their ritual, but we should be doing it the way that we're accustomed to. But in an event that there is a second shelter in place, which I know some people are thinking may happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder how we're going to go about changing things up a little bit so that we can still have members engaged and then have smaller meetings so until people start feeling comfortable to come back out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're onto something there as far as, like, opening with, your set guys, and then having some sort of, technology in place to have brothers meet remotely. Um, I think even maybe even like on a Grand Lodge level, or an international level, we can come up with some kind of software to have like a Zoom type of software for just for Mason. I think that'd be pretty cool. Something that we control, full control on our servers and things like that. And that might be something we can look at as far as Masonry as a whole. Even the United Grand Lodge of England can look at something like that and implement that for all Grand Lodges.
Yeah, I mean, I know people are dying to find out our secrets sometimes, but the secret is some of the meetings aren't as entertaining as people think. And I think that if there was a security breach, the first 5 minutes into reading the minutes, people would be like, "Yeah, fuck this, click, I'm done. I didn't know secrets I'm learning here." So I I know like that's one of the concerns, but at some point I kind of envision the lodge, the secretary even having a laptop at their desk, opposed to kind of writing everything uh, in the future to make things easier. I mean, luckily for us, we have a strong lodge. The lodge that my mother lodge is pretty strong. We have a lot going on. We're not hurting right now, but we're definitely. I know that our first meeting is going to be insane with all kinds of trying to catch up. We've got brothers waiting. Um, we have one brother who's been waiting probably over a year to uh, to join, um, due to a bunch of different things going on, right? And then like this going on, we can't hold any meetings, so we can't do any degrees, which is kind of insane. But hopefully we get back to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what masonry is going to look like across the country, because I don't know about you, but I have traveled to different states and I've got to see their meetings and got to see some degrees, and it's very interesting
Yeah.
to say the least, the way that people do things differently. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see actually what happens and what comes of all this. I mean, it's gonna be a rough road. I think it's gonna be a challenge for a lot of brothers and for a lot of lodges themselves, especially the ones that were already hurting. I'm sure this is gonna cripple them even more. But we have to remember that we're a fraternity. If we've got to stick by each other and help out these lodges if we can. I see a lot of, well, that's their lodge and this is our lodge. And, it's kind of, it's disheartening just to know that, we kind of separate ourselves by lodges, and I understand why it's done. But, I think we need to look beyond that and see that we're all, this is just a huge fraternity of brothers. I've seen lodges be absorbed into other lodges and things like that. And there's a lot of history there that's being lost now. The name itself, myself, I collect antiques. There's so many antiques, for lodges that I've got that no longer exist. And it's like, wow, what's going on with this? Why is it like that? You start to research the history of it and why it fell through the cracks and lost its charter, things like that. And it's just, it's sad. It's sad to see.
well, I think when it comes to certain things like that, I kind of almost feel like there's two things that need to happen to strengthen lodges again. One thing would be is to respect the seats, having a firm understanding of officer chairs and what your role in the lodge is. I think that those things, that one thing right there, actually will make you more engaged as a officer or even as a prospective white apron brother on the sidelines, like saying, hey, maybe I want to jump on that line and kind of move up, and or maybe like bringing you together with more like-minded people. Um, Another thing that I see is that the allure to it is kind of fading. I think the allure to masonry somewhat fades away when you have prospected, when you have some prospects coming by, and you have too many people kind of jibber jabbing with them and saying how it's gonna be so great when they join, and you know like almost kind of telling them they're a shoo-in, and like not having them have some hard. I mean, when I first joined 10 years ago, um, it was still a little bit different, right? The lodge was run by an older group of guys who held it together, and some of the guys wouldn't even talk to you if they didn't know you. And it
Hmm.
wasn't a thing that like they were nasty older guys. These guys turned out to be some of the nicest, most genuine people I've met. It's that you had to put a little bit of work in. And I think that, you know, that might be another reason why, while we're kind of talking a little bit about membership, might be a reason why things are a little bit iffy due to the fact that you have some young guys coming in, and I don't know if they really understand what like putting in work means, and it might scare. I know it scares some people away. I know I've seen some new brothers come in, and you try to put them to work as EAs and tell them they got to be at stuff and help out, and then they're just like, "Oh, I got work. I can't make it. I can't do this." And I'm like, "Oh, well, you signed before you when you signed that petition and you had your investigation. You said you had buku days to kind of to be a part of this organization. Now that you see it, you have to put some work in, or you can't just say, hey." I mean, we had a guy come in, and I was his mentor. I was on the mentoring committee for a little while and bringing these guys through and getting them ready for their degrees, tests, and all of that. And one guy's like, "Hey, you think that this guy can get me a job here, or you think this guy can get me a job here?" I said, "Hey, man, it's not like that." I said, "I can't ask for you. You got to develop a relationship with the guy, and if he likes you, he may help you. But if you ask him right now, he's going to tell you to go f off." Um, so I see we have a little bit of issue. We have some issues with that. Um, those are kind of bigger problems. I'm really just more thinking about the short term, trying to get the lodge back open, getting our business done, and enjoying the camaraderie, especially with the guys I enjoy being around. Um, I know you have a business, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about it. So it's Ascended Masters, correct?
Yeah, Son of Masters Clothing.
And I think you have a lot of cool shit on there. And I promise you, the next time I have a call or I have you on the call, I'll definitely be wearing some of your merch. I know I asked you about it before, but I just started buying some stuff. I've been on unemployment, so it hasn't been the greatest. I'm on furlough, so um, how's your business going? I know you got a lot of cool shit on there. I think that every time I browse it, I think you're definitely an innovative guy, and there's always something sparking in your head to like, you know, to bring new merchandise out or something about the bearded builders.
Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, as far as business goes right now, it's pretty slow. I mean, I'll have to admit it's pretty slow. It's never been this slow. And I can pretty much equate that to, obviously the people situations right now. The fact that people can't go out. I mean, I understand people wear my shirts to go out. What are you going to wear a shirt for? To paint, things like that. So I understand why it's happening. I am getting a few orders here and there trickling in. I also was not advertising as much when this whole thing started. I didn't feel comfortable advertising. I felt it wasn't the time to start selling products or start moving products. And I also used a lot of my time trying to reach out to the brothers in need and things like that. So I focused more on that. There was also the question of masks, of when I was going to start making masks, Masonic masks, and there was quite a few requests for that. I think I've had over about 30 requests for people asking me when am I going to make them. And I refuse to be that guy that makes masks. I think number one, they're not a fashion statement. I mean, anytime you got a mask with a logo on it, it's like, hey, this you're wearing this for your safety, not because you look good. It's not. We shouldn't allow this to turn into the next fashion trend, which is what I'm really opposed to as far as putting square and compass on a mask and things like that. Now I know there are brothers out there that are making them. That's fine. More power to you. If you want to be that guy, that's fine. I've got nothing against that. But I couldn't bring myself to, number one, saying, hey, you want to buy a mask? I'd be more inclined to give them away, which we do have something in the works now, for as far as safety and things like that go, for hygiene. We're going to start offering some free stuff with every order. We're working on some sanitizers, some hand sanitizers and things like that for giveaways. And maybe I'll put out some masks, some free masks for the brothers later on down the road, depending how long this lasts. But I don't foresee this lasting any more than hopefully another couple months. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. We do have a brother here, right, works for Glenn Vischer in New Jersey. He has been making embroidered masks, but I mean, he's putting in work and just giving them away for free. I mean, I know I ordered them for the entire lot. I ordered them for all the offices in my lodge. I do have to say, I said thank you to him and I offered some money and he said, no, it's fine. We're making them.
Okay.
Him and his wife are making them. It's actually some really cool stuff. So I definitely thank them for that. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I said, I've always seen you with the merchandise, always the cool stuff, and like I know you had some. And sometimes I see you post, stuff about like, and I sent you a message the other day, like people stealing your brand. I mean, how has that also, do you think, affected business for you? And is there anything you're doing about that to try to reclaim your copyright on it?
Yeah. Well, the problem is that we're having with that is it's basically Chinese companies that are doing this. Like places like Teespring and things like that. They're basically just they go. They've got bots on the internet that'll just steal images and then put them on T-shirts and sell them on this Teespring type of. Like the one I've got now that I'm trying to fight with is T-Chip. There's one called T-Chip, and there's actually two Facebook pages that are stealing my artwork, and they're all Chinese, run. One of them has blocked me, so I can't even communicate with them. And then the other one, they respond strictly in Chinese. So I don't even know if brothers are even getting these shirts. But it's troublesome to see that so many people are liking these pages and following these pages and commenting and sharing even my design by being sold by another company. But there are a lot of brothers that are stepping up and making comments on these pages, trying to point brothers in the right direction to my page. I have to say I'm quite proud of the brothers who've actually made comments and helped back me up. That's great to see. At the same time, it's hurtful to know that I've spent so much time and effort into these designs, and then I just blatantly see someone take the image, copy,
Yeah,
and then try to sell it. But I try to keep a positive outlook on it. I know that I'm constantly, like you said before, I'm constantly innovating. And I got to stay one step ahead of these guys because they'll never be at that level. Even though they keep stealing stuff, they'll never be. I'll always be one step ahead, staring at them from my rearview mirror.
how as a business owner, especially in the Masonic realm, I do notice that I know people that own businesses, and anytime they venture into some Masonic type of merchandise, they get critiqued for it. There's people that talk shit. Some of the old timers, they get all bent out of shape. How do you keep it fair for, I want to see if I'm wording it right. When do you keep it pretty like streamlined for all the brothers when they order? Is there any kind of discount for them? I understand because I know I've had this conversation with plenty of people. It's if you're a brother and you respect me, don't expect a discount. And then there's some people that say, if you're a brother, of course I'll give you a discount. How do you feel about that kind of back and forth, and what do you do to kind of keep it baseline for the brothers and whatnot when you sell this stuff to them?
Yeah. Well, for the most part, I think a lot of brothers understand that, hey, I'm providing a product, not necessarily a service, and it's, I'm getting paid for my labor. In other words, there's been several occasions where I've had brothers, talk trash or badmouth me for what I'm doing and whatnot. And I think the way I kind of deal with that on my own, and like I said, even about the masks, profiting off of the situation and whatnot. I do give a lot of things away. I do give discounts. There are discount codes and things like that. I've got, little contests, little entries here and there that I do. I'm always constantly giving things away, brothers that I meet and things like that. And I feel that my prices are fair and reasonable. I don't try to price gouge or anything like that. But it's just, a lot of brothers don't get it that, hey, they're going to buy it from somewhere. In other words, we're Masons. We want stuff with the square and compass on it. We want to buy stuff. We want to show off our pride for the craft, and we're going to buy it somewhere. So a lot of these brothers that are just, hey, you're making money off of Masons, or you're making money off of masonry and blah, blah, blah. They don't understand that brothers are going to go out and they're going to look for this stuff, and they're going to buy it, and they're going to buy it from China. They're going to buy it from Pakistan. And now you're taking the money away from an actual brother and you're giving it to someone that's, just a Cowan sitting behind a computer stealing designs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I'm not selling a service. There's for example, Masonic authors, they're selling their books. You also have, Masonic education websites that are selling, a subscription to becoming a better brother or anything like that. Things like that, that don't get critiqued as much just because, you're selling the product. Now all of a sudden you're profiting off the craft. It's a tough thing, but it's going to come with any business.
No, I definitely agree with you, man. If you should be paid for your talents, you're putting you're putting your thought into it. You're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into making a brand and a product, and people should kind of understand that. And I've seen a lot of different guys, especially when they. I just want to make sure I don't lose you because I know we have a time limit on here. I believe I don't see the little thing in the window yet, so when I do, I'll kind of cue you in on that. But yeah, I definitely think that um, when you have your own product and brand, it's definitely a job to create all that stuff, and people shouldn't try to lowball you or constantly come at you. It kind of turns people off too when like you're trying to sell something and somebody's constantly coming to you like, "Can I get it for cheaper? What can you do for me?" It's like, well, listen, man, I don't know. Like, can you do that with your rent? Can you go to your landlord and say, "Hey, man, what can I do to lower this rent every month?" Or, or how can I not pay my phone bill this month? And it's kind of like you can't pull those things with other companies, but it's kind of like on the mom and pop level, people always want these big handouts that honestly aren't even like feasible.
Mm.
So I definitely feel you on that, and I know that. I've seen you post, numerous times and make mentions about that, and I just wanted to get your take on it because I know it's like a big pain in the ass when people just constantly abuse that. And then I think it also discourages other brothers that, I think a lot of guys do have some they're great in their craft that they're in, and they want to get you know, business from brothers. And I've seen it's just like super hard to get business from brothers because, again, you can go to right now. I can go to V Chip or T Chip or whatever the hell it is, and I could probably buy your shirt maybe $5 cheaper.
Yeah,
But it's at the cost of what though? You know what I mean? You're probably getting a shitty quality shirt.
absolutely.
You're not getting the official brand. And I feel like we have that a lot where people want more bang for their buck, so they're they talk a little bit more shit, or they discourage other brothers from actually doing business with them. I know guys that are just like, yeah, I wouldn't even do business with the lodge for the simple fact that I don't want to be critiqued after. I don't want to break any kind of bonds or friendships I have there currently. So we just keep it neutral, and I just do my thing on the side.
Yeah.
Um, What else has been going on? Kind of running through the list of things we're chatting about.
Yeah, man, just trying to stay sane and taking it day by day. I just took a little vacation over to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and we were out there for a little bit, trying to enjoy a cabin, trying to enjoy the fresh air and things like that. That was fun. So I took the family up there, and we had a good time. Now, hopefully, our state will reopen and we'll get things going again. I actually was I had drinks at a bar and
Yeah, I seen that, man. I was jealous.
yeah, so
We're waiting for something like that to open here, man. We're kind of going crazy pulling our hair out. Well, I already pulled out all my hair, but my girlfriend too. We just want to sit down and hear somebody come up and say, "What can I start you off with?"
yeah.
That's kind of been, what's going on.
Yeah, it's like the old saying goes, you don't know what you have till it's gone, man.
Absolutely, I would definitely agree. I think that that kind of wraps up what I have. Again, being at this the first episode, I just wanted to kind of get my feet wet, and definitely you've been a very interesting person, and it's been a very enjoyable conversation. Um, I'd love to have you on at some other point. I know I reached out to brother Brendan Green and trying to get him on. He's definitely another super interesting Mason that I'd love to have on and kind of talk with. But if you want to go ahead and plug your website right now, I'd love to kind of broadcast that.
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother. It was a pleasure. Anytime you want to talk, just shoot me a message, and we can talk about whatever, go into a little esoterics or whatever you'd like. If you want to check out my line, guys, thanks for watching. You can check it out at www.ascendedmastersclothing.com. We'll have some new designs up shortly. We've got 3 new designs up now, so you can check those out. I've got a Royal Arch design. We've also got a grotto design up there that just are up for pre-order. So stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. Next time, I definitely promise we'll get into some kind of esoteric talk, um, and we'll go from there. But thanks for thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it, and we'll keep in touch.
No problem, brother. Stay
Uh,
safe.
you as well.
Peace.